Record. Okay, so we're going to dive straight in today. I have a lot that I want to share with you guys. So today we're focusing on throat chakra, which is all about communication. Before we dive into today's activation, here's something I really want to share. Your energy is precious, right? In the sense that everything that you do is having an impact on the world around you. And when we are not aware and not mindful of how our energy is expressing on this planet, what can happen for us is that we can become very depleted. There's a few ways that we can deplete our energy. It could be engaging in like negativity. So for example, in the throat chakra realm, it could be like gossiping. It could be saying bad things about people. It could be engaging in conversations that are maybe not in the same value system as you. Like, have you ever been to a party and people are just talking about stuff and you kind of feel like you have to just sit there and engage in the conversation, but actually you just don't care? Right? Yeah, like raise your hand if you've had that. I think we've all been there at some point, right? When we choose to keep engaging in situations where we are not 100% in it or it doesn't resonate with us, what happens is our energy actually gets depleted. Now, here's the other way that we can waste energy. It's not just about communication, it's also in our thoughts. Because remember that we are also constantly speaking to ourselves, right? That internal dialogue actually has a massive impact on how we live our lives, how we interact with the world. So, the other part of this, when it comes to expression and communication, is actually self communication. So, when you communicate with yourself, when things happen in your reality, how much of your time and energy is going into negativity? How much of your brain power is going into negativity? When something happens in your life and you're like, oh shit, that was a situation that I didn't really like, how many hours do you actually waste then complaining internally about something that's happened? Because that is one of the fastest ways to put yourself in a low vibration, deplete your energy, and not get the ultimate results that you want. This is the thing, right? As conscious creators of our reality, we are empowered. And as empowered beings, we make choices. The choices that we make in every moment have the capacity to influence, impact, and create the reality that we experience, right? So when something happens to you and you decide to go into victim mode, which everyone does at some point or another, you go into victim mode, and then what happens is you basically buy into this story, this idea that whatever has happened to you is outside of your control. And instead of coming into a state of positivity within yourself, you can go into a space of complaining, you can go into bitching. Like, if you bitch about something to another person, that's one of the fastest ways to actually bring low vibrational energy into your throat chakra, right? Bitching about a situation, complaining is one of the worst ways. How much of your time have you spent in your life complaining about things? Right? We've all done it. Let's all admit it. Been there, done that. But this is where we bring awareness into that, right? Bitching, gossiping, complaining, whinging has absolutely no fruitful effect on this planet, right? When we complain about things, what we're doing is we're essentially buying into the story that we can't do something about it. There's actually a beautiful movement, and I forget the name of the guy who runs it, but it's called Complaint Free World. You can Google this. It's called Complaint Free World. What happens is that people just spend a lot of time complaining instead of creating change. Complaining doesn't create change. If you want to create change, take the thing that you're pissed about and do something about it. Like, actually go and do something about it. If you see something in the world that needs changing, be the person to create the change. If you just sit around for a week whinging to your friends about how this thing is happening and you're not doing anything about it, you have no right to complain, because you're not being the change. We have equally, as a society, created this world together. As a human race, we have created this world. So if you personally don't like something about it, isn't it on you to change it? And if you decide that you don't want to take that pillar, that you don't want to be the person to create the change, at the very least, stop complaining about it. Because by not doing something about it, you have accepted that reality to be okay for you. Does that make sense? So this is the thing, right? I see each and every one of you on these calls as people who are perfectly empowered and capable of creating change in your reality at whatever capacity you feel like doing it. And if you don't feel like doing it, that's cool too. I personally will not be judging you, right? So this is the thing. The invitation is quit complaining. Yeah, actually quit complaining. I'm going to encourage each and every one of you today as homework to go look at that website, complaintfreeworld.com, or it might be .org, and go and see this movement that has been created, because complaining doesn't create change. Complaining actually just puts you into a low vibrational state of being a victim of your reality. And that is not what we are here to do. I know that we are so much bigger than that. I know that every time I see something that I don't like, I either choose to change it or I accept it. And if I choose to accept it, there's that little part of me that goes, okay, maybe I don't 100% agree with it, but I trust that someone else is looking after it. Because we can't do everything ourselves either, right? I can't do every single thing that needs to be done on this planet. And so, like, I'm grateful that I have a lot of friends and I have a lot of people that are, entrepreneurs that surround me. And so I know that, like, this person is taking care of the environmental stuff, and this person's looking after the animals, and this person's, looking after the environment, and then I'm doing my bit by doing the spiritual awakening, because that's what I'm passionate about, right? I'm not going to get caught up in like, I don't do a lot of activism. I don't do, there's some things that I don't partake in, but I also don't sit around complaining about it, because I know that someone else has got that covered. So I also trust in the bigger picture. So knowing that your energy and your words are so, so powerful, have such a massive impact, I'm really inviting you guys to take a real solid look at where has your energy been wasted in terms of complaining, bitching, gossiping, which ultimately hasn't put you in the highest vibrational state. So let's reflect, guys. Let's reflect on this. Um, um, but yeah, I guess, for us, the first thing to do is to become aware of where those energetic threads are actually going. Where is our energy being depleted? Where is our energy, not being put to the highest use? So yeah, so if we were going to be really honest with ourselves, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of our conversation is bitching, gossiping, or complaining? I want you guys to rate yourselves. And that includes your self-talk as well. That includes your thoughts, not just what you say out loud. It's about how much of your thoughts are also in complaining, bitching, gossiping. And there's no right or wrong. It's a self-assessment. Wherever you're at, you can change it, right? So if you're at 75% complaining, well, you can improve on that. If you're at 20%, you can improve on that, right? Now, let me give you a little insight into the world of high performing entrepreneurs. I am surrounded, and I mean constantly surrounded, by people that are doing incredible things on this planet. Like, I am so grateful that my inner circle is so, so freaking tight, and they're so freaking awesome. And what I've learned from them is these people pretty much don't complain ever. The people that are doing incredible things on this planet, the thing that sets them apart from everyone else is their mindset. It's absolutely mindset. Like, I see people who, like, if if the fuel is like an extra 10 cents more expensive, I know people who will literally spend 5 hours whinging about it. Like, they'll be going on about it into the next day, and yet the people that are high performing entrepreneurs, they're actually, they'll just look at it and be like, okay, cool, whatevs, because they know that there are more important things to be thinking about. When I was in Perth recently, spent some time with my family. Um, like, I love my parents, but like, they're not 100% all over this stuff, right? So this one day, my mum literally spent 5 minutes going on about how the watermelon was $2 more expensive. And I just looked at her and I was like the amount of time that was spent whinging about that watermelon was worth more than my time per hour to sit there and listen to it. Like it was just, and I say this with a lot of love because, they are my family. I love them dearly, but I look at it and I'm just like, what is this? Like the amount of time that she spent talking about the goddamn watermelon. I was like, do you know how much I could have done to impact the world positively in those few minutes? Like that is a value that I place on my time, my energy, my energetic output, to the point where I'm like, did I actually want to listen to that for 5 minutes? Like, you know what I mean? um, but this is the thing, like, and again, there's a lot of love for, people around me. And I don't want to go into a big thread of like us now whinging and bitching about our family members, because that's not the intention behind this. The point is, we can't change other people, but what I do want to do is to get you guys changing yourselves, right? And we've all got family members that do this, right? It's fine. We just love them in that, and that's where they're at, and there's a lot of love and compassion for that too. But you can make choices about yourself and your journey. So my question to you is, if you've just rated yourself and you've gone, oh, it's actually like 60, 70%, or it's 20%, start getting clear on that. And for this whole week, we're focusing on the throat chakra. So this whole week, the intention is to start getting aware of when are you actually doing it, and seeing if you can catch yourself in the moment and stop that. The other thing that we're going to do today is we're actually going to energetically clear your throat chakra, because if you have been doing it, it actually creates that constriction and that tightness in your throat, so that it does create that level of, like, not that same free flow. When the words that you say and the communication that you express is connected to your heart, then there is a lot more love in it. There is a lot more positivity in it. But when it's connected to, old mental patterns and things that are just not serving you, it just creates this tightness. And what that does is, when, if 60 to 70% of your energy is focused on bitching, whinging, gossiping, and complaining, then how on earth are you going to deliver a message or get into your creativity? There's no time for that. There's no space for that. So if you're wondering, why you're blocked in your creativity and you're blocked in your business, I can almost guarantee that those of you that have really struggled with this one, you guys would have also really struggled with the sacral chakra, because that was all about creativity, right? Because if your sacral chakra is blocked and there's a lot of like lack of creative flow coming through, sometimes it's because even if the creativity is there, it hasn't had the opportunity to move through the throat and actually be expressed, because in your throat you're too busy whinging, bitching, gossiping, complaining. Right? Tension in the neck and shoulders can be linked to throat, but it can also be linked to third eye as well, or just general congestion. So yeah, definitely sing more. Yeah, I sing like every day. Singing is actually such a great way to unblock those channels, but also there's other things you can do. So we are going to do an energetic clearing today. Adding to that, you can also just like, if you need to release stuff in the throat, you can do things like scream into a pillow. That's one of those like common ways of releasing energy where there is pent up anger or there is pent up frustration. If you are genuinely hating on yourself and the world and everything else, there are ways to express that in a healthy way that don't involve you bitching and whinging to someone else about it. Because when you bitch to someone else, then you're actually spreading that energy to them as well. Now, I'm not saying don't talk about things that are going on for you. Like, obviously, if something is going on for you, you can talk about it. But there's a difference between, hey, do you mind just listening to me while I have a quick vent? I just need to release this, versus I'm going to bitch. And then the other person goes, oh, yeah, that's so bad. And then everybody goes into a pity party and then everybody's playing the victim. And it doesn't serve anyone, right? I can see some of you are saying you've done the screaming before. I've done it too. Sometimes if I really just need to release, I'll take my car into a place where there's like a bush and there's no one around, and I'll just scream really, really loud. And sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Like, you can't suppress the emotions, because that's not good for you. You just need healthy ways to release it. Right. So yeah, if you do actually need to release frustration, there are ways that you can get it out of your body. You can do it through movement. So breath, movement, they're really great ways of doing that. Screaming into a pillow is amazing. Going into the bush and just like going for a big run, that's a really great way of doing it. Dancing is a huge one for me. I love dancing. So when I get really like worked up about something and I know I just need to ground myself, I just crank up my music and I dance. In fact, some mornings I just do it anyway. Like, I wake up and I start my day with just dancing and singing and just like everything's vibing. And that's just how I start. Right. Yeah. And yeah, sometimes you can burst into tears because, anger is actually often a barrier for sadness. So what happens is, because we don't want to feel the hurt, we actually create anger in front of it. Classic example is when you break up with somebody and you have, like, what you're actually feeling is you're feeling hurt and rejected, but before you allow yourself to feel that, you tend to go through the 5 stages of grief, and then one of them is anger, right? So you go into full, like, I'm really angry at this person, and you make the person wrong, because it's easier to make the person wrong so that you have a reason to be angry at them than to actually just acknowledge that you feel hurt. Yeah. And then if you're not connected to your communication about it, what happens is you then start projecting at the person, you start bitching about the person, and suddenly that person is a horrible person, even though you loved them like 2 days ago. Right? And so this is the thing. This is what we do. Like, in order to protect ourselves from our own emotions, we actually don't let ourselves healthily express. So the throat chakra is about communication. It's also about expression. It's about allowing ourselves to actually healthily express what's coming up for us, to speak to each other in a way where we're having our needs met, but without, projecting our shit onto other people. Yeah. And the unhealthy expression of this is the bitching, the whinging, the complaining, stuff that just has no purpose. So the invitation today is to let's allow ourselves to release those negative patterns in the throat, to release any energies that might be stuck there, and to set the intention to move forward so that we can communicate with clarity, so that we can still have our needs met. We can healthily release what's coming up for us without putting things into the universe that are serving no purpose. Cool? Great. Let's do it. All right, let's take a deep breath in. Let's get ourselves nice and comfy. Just taking a deep breath in through the nose, exhaling out. On your next in breath, bring your awareness to your heart center. Just allowing your heart star to radiate strong and bright.
On your next in breath, breathe from your heart down to the heart of Gaia, just connecting in, feeling that love and support. On your next in breath, breathe from your heart up through the crown, connecting to Source. Just feel that energy flowing through the crown into your heart. On your next in breath, breathe from your heart up into your throat and just start to become aware of the energy in your throat chakra. Just noticing, observing what the energy feels like. You may be able to see the color or feel the vibration. Perhaps you can just get a sense of what's in there. Imagine now that if every single thing you ever said out loud or to yourself was stored inside this throat chakra, what kind of energy does that bring into that space? Everything that you've ever expressed, everything you've ever said to your loved ones, to even the random people you meet. And the things that you say to yourself internally, all those sentences, phrases, energies are in your throat chakra right now. What is the vibration of that? In that space is all the times I've said I love you, all the things it's everything that has been expressed through you. What about all the times where there's been anger, shouting, hatred, bitching, gossiping, complaining for no reason? Just lay it all on the table. Let's take a really good look at what's inside that space. Sometimes there's also what's not been said. What are all the energies of the things that you didn't say, things that you wish you had said, times when you kept your mouth shut, even if it went against what you really wanted to do? Let's throw it all on the table, take a really good look at all of this communication, all of this expression. See if you can do this without judgment. What's happened has happened. What's said is done. But now we can reflect on this. And from here, we can choose to make different choices. Let's begin by clearing all the energy of any negative vibrations, any blockages. I'm going to do this by bringing in the violet flame. Just take a deep breath into your throat and visualize the violet flame surrounding your entire throat chakra, cleansing away the energy of anything that no longer serves. You may feel in the process of this, perhaps there is some forgiveness, some gratitude, perhaps some apologies that need to be made. Just allow yourself to go through the process of this clearing. As you're clearing through your throat chakra, just take note if there's anything that needs to be done at a practical level in order to clear some of these energies. For some of you, you may need to go have a conversation with someone. Perhaps you need to journal something and get something out of your system. Just bring awareness. If there's anything unresolved in this space, just ask yourself, what is it that you need to do so you can transform this energy within yourself? So just violet flaming, clearing away any last residual bits of energy that you're ready to release. On your next in breath, breathe from your throat down into your heart. See if you can create a clear connection, a flow of white light energy between your heart and your throat. And as we connect these two energy centers together, we set the intention that everything we express, everything we communicate, comes from the heart. We set the intention that everything we say, everything we do, the way we communicate and express ourselves is coming through the highest love and connection to Source. Just connecting your heart with your throat so the energy can flow freely and lovingly through you. next in breath, breathe from your throat up to your third eye, creating a clear channel between your mind and your communication. So the things that you think and say to yourself are also coming from the highest love. Now coming back into your throat, and set the intention for how you would like your communication to be. What are the things you want to say more of? What are the things you'd rather be telling yourself? On your next in breath, breathe from your throat, down through the heart, down into the earth, just grounding in your new intentions. On your next in breath, you're starting to bring your awareness gently back into your body. As we finish today's practice, I want you to ask yourself, are there any actions you need to take from today to complete your process? Do you need to have any conversations? Do you need to write anything down? If you do have an action step, just take note of that before you come back. Just taking in some deep breaths in through the nose, exhaling out as you gently come back to your body, back into the space. Just let me know when you're back. Cool, good stuff, guys. So I'm going to put you guys into rooms And then we'll come back and just do a quick little integration. Okay.
All right, welcome back, guys. So I'm curious, how many of you have committed to journaling? Is amazing, guys. If you guys aren't journaling, get onto that. That's something I used to do every day. I do it a bit less now, but actually I probably want to get back into it myself, to be honest. I used to do morning pages. So every day when I used to get up, I used to do 3 pages of just stream of consciousness. And there was no like agenda behind it. It was just get up in the morning and just dump like whatever's coming through. And I found that whenever I was doing that, it just left my day, like my mental space was so much clearer during the day when I did do that. So yeah, if anyone wants to take up that as a bit of a practice, especially if you're in Perth right now with nothing to do and you're in lockdown, you can sit around and watch the ash fall from the sky as you journal away. Seems to be the vibe over there, right? Yeah, you can definitely vent. And this is the thing, like if you are going to have a whinge about something, just do it in a journal. Don't say it to someone. Get it out of your system, but don't put it onto another person. That's where it's really important that you can express it. Like journaling is a healthy way to express things. If you genuinely just need to have a whinge and a bitch, do it in a journal and then burn the page. Because then it's gone, it's transformed, it's done. Yep, tear it up, flush it down the loo. Do what you need to do. What's the best thing to do when people are venting at you or gossiping? Tell them not to. Like, put up a boundary. You know, like I don't enjoy gossiping and bitching. If they're doing it at you, you can say to them, look, you know, I actually am not really enjoying this conversation. Communicate that. Tell them. If they're your friend, they'll understand, right? Like, why would you sit there and have that energy being thrown at you when it's not actually serving you? This is where you can actually speak up. In your relationships, you can speak up and you can ask that your friends don't bitch at you. And if they don't like that, well, be prepared to lose a few friends, you know? But like, are they the people that you want around? This is the thing. You got to ask yourself, like, if you have a good friend and you say, look, actually, you know, I'm trying to do something good for myself here and I just don't feel comfortable gossiping and bitching, then I just don't feel comfortable doing that. They should be okay with that. I've just set that boundary enough times that it doesn't really come into my field. And if people want to do that, like I've been known to literally just get up and walk away. Like I'll be like, see you later, you know, like I'll just leave. I'll literally just leave the situation because I'm like, this isn't serving. Like, it's just not helpful. Like there's a point where I'm polite and then it gets to a point where I'm like, I'm done. Like, this is it. I'm out, you know? And that to me, and I know it sounds a bit harsh when I say that, but there are times when that for me is actually an act of self-love, because for me to stay in that situation is just not serving me. And if they're insisting on continuing the conversation, even after I've said, oh, actually, let's change the topic, and they keep coming back to that, I will literally just make an excuse and get up and walk away. Like that's where I've gotten to with my life, you know? So yeah, I mean, you make choices, like how far are you willing to go into it? And at what point do you just exercise a boundary and be like, you know what, actually, I don't want to do this anymore. And you have every right to do that. There's no right or wrong. You just make a choice. Yeah. Maybe some of you need to start making some different choices. And there's nice ways to do everything. There's tactful ways to do everything. And sometimes those tactful ways don't always work. And so you have to just be a little bit more like, you know, a little bit more, I guess, in people's face with it. and I trust you guys to gauge where that line is with different people. Like if it's somebody that, you know, I don't know that well, then obviously I'm not going to be rude to them. But yeah, I mean, you guys are all adults. Like you guys can figure this stuff out, right? Cool. Well, that was a lot of fun, guys. I hope you guys, you know, really cleared some stuff today. All right, take it easy, guys. Lots of love to you all. Have an amazing rest of the week, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.